I don't want to be this way. Not forever.
Oh, I'm gonna be so well fed. Too bad we see them break up in the trailer. What is up, guys? This is your resident Stolitz whore talking about the latest trailer for Helluva Boss, and today we are going to break it down. As, yeah, we had some revelations this time around. I was expecting, well, not this, but now that we have the trailer, and once you start looking at like, okay, what's actually here, you realize, oh, this is a lot. We have the implications that Stolas and Blitz in the full moon are gonna break up, things go nuclear, and we need to be ready for it. As yeah, Stolitz pulls away from Blitz, and he is rocking the breakup look in Apology Tour, with a Blitzo sucks banner behind him when he's singing. And Blitz is also gonna see his mother, which, trauma! And it only gets worse when you realize that this isn't a flashback. It's a hallucination. Alright, let's just dive into this trailer, see what's there, see what's not, and just go along with my theories for what's gonna happen in the future, as this trailer, it gives away a lot and also very little, which is the kind of stuff that I love. But again, they're breaking up, 100%. Now I'm just gonna go through this in order. I'm gonna just pick out what I see, what I like, and just see where my mind goes from there. The one thing as we go into this, you always have to remember, this trailer, while good, it's also trying to lie to you. Like, some of the stuff seems like it fits so perfectly together, but no, a lot of these might be fully separate episodes, so we're making some massive assumptions about what's really going on. But thankfully, assumptions are my middle name, so I think we'll be fine. But to kick off the trailer, we have Satanists.
Oh, we've got you surrounded!
Now a sick part of me wants to believe that this was Dork trying to summon Imp so they can finally kill the devils. But sadly, well, realistically, you can see that the red hand from one of the members means that no, these aren't humans, this is hell. You can see the red lighting in the background, probably the pride ring, meaning that this could be anything. Like, truly, we do not know what this is, what these people could be doing. We've never seen anything like this in hell before, as it's been usually so modern. We've seen very little satanic imagery being played straight. So this just leads me to believe that this whole opening, much like the opening of the trailer itself, is just gonna be a gag. Stuff is gonna happen, it's gonna be funny. Most likely scenario, this is just gonna be somebody's orgy that we have Blitz run through by accident. I mean, it would be fun since we're gonna have to deal with a ghost episode that this would be the summoning for such a being. Possibly a sinner trying to get into the human world with said process being having massive negative effects that leads them to become a ghost. But truly, we do not know, we don't actually know if sinners can go to Earth, but we also don't really know where ghosts fit in the cosmology of like this whole universe. So this could not be a ghost later on, but I think given everything, it probably is, as from what we've seen from their power set, they have some insane moves going on that we have seen from no other demon in this story, Goetia or otherwise. Now we follow that shot up with a false status quo change to the Imp going on the run. The show's never gonna be the same again. Then they hit a poll, because comedy. With Moxxie in a sign of growth telling Blitz,
I fucking hate you so much, Blitz.
Now this is a huge change for Moxxie, who always usually puts sir at the end of that sentence, because Moxxie has never met an authority figure he didn't simp for, even if they treat him poorly. Honestly, especially because he treated them poorly. So him finally dropping this formality after everything he's been through, it is a sign that Moxxie and Blitz maybe have finally gotten comfortable with each other, and that Moxxie is very much done with Blitz's bull at this point in his life. But the question of what are they running from is very much up in the air, and I think the answer is the Cherubs.
We lay in wait for them to return to Earth, so we might smite them once and for all.
The Cherubs were captured by Dork, and the two are now working together to kill Imp. That is not in dispute. We see the fallen idiots getting interrogated by the Dorks in black, only for us to later get a shot of a man-made pearl being made to hell. We see a brief glimpse of angelic energy going through it till the energy turns hellish, with us being able to see the angels' halos right down below it. So probably having realized that they share a mutual enemy who ruined both of their lives, the Cherubs having getting kicked out of heaven, Dorks getting humiliated, and probably won't bring up all the co-workers that got massacred. So sharing the common ground of being haters, the Cherubs will most likely forge an alliance with Dork, trading their insider knowledge, with Dork giving them the resources to go into hell and get their revenge. And they'll do so in power armor. We see the Imp is getting attacked from what looks like a missile. The shadow that's about to hit the glass is circular and looks like it has the tail fins at the end. This might be what Imp is running away from before the crash, with us later getting a glimpse of what was fired, and yeah, that's just Cletus. They most likely got this tech from Dork, as they're already weebs, so building power armor would absolutely be in their wheelhouse. With us being able to go even a step further and guess maybe, hey, that skull on their chest could be a D for Dork and a C for Cherubs. Am I stretching it? maybe a little bit, but we do see them attacking Millie, Moxxie, and Luna, who are now fighting someone in lust. Well, let's get a few backshots to see that the armor is in fact just designed to look like Blitz, which would be a massive Xanatos otaku move that Dork and only Dork would make. As when you're a weak human, you might as well look like your greatest enemy. But the Cherubs on the attack, they have missiles, guns, and by the looks of things, Luna's gonna rip off an arm and blow up a resort. But the only question left is, where is Blitz in all this? Now this is one of the hard parts of the trailer where you can't exactly guess how stuff stacks and connects. Possibly Dork will attack during full moon, but given how we see Blitz when the Cherubs first attack, I doubt he would veer off into a side plot, especially when Luna's in danger. If this were Moxxie, yeah, he might lead to have a booty call, but Blitz would never ditch his daughter. He's not Stolitz. The question of where he is won't be cleared up till we watch the episode, but one thing that is very answerable is whether or not Blitz will take Stolitz's deal and his crystal. The answer is yes, as we do see Blitz go and mock Dork. He's doing it through the same fractal portal that Osmodian crystals create, meaning that he will give back the Grimoire and take the crystal from Stolitz, meaning that they no longer have to have their contractual bang that's defined them for so long. Does this mean that they're still together? Hard to say. It would be cute if Blitz felt so trusting that he would just keep using the Grimoire, but for a man obsessed with standing on his own and hating being looked down on, Blitz will jump at the chance to get this crystal and will be using it for the rest of the season most likely. Though the exact timeline could be a bit wonky, as we have seen the opening of Full Moon, which is a duet between Stolas and Blitz as they're getting ready for their date night. So this crystal situation might be settled first, but we also have a shot of that Grimoire being used later, meaning that the book may be the Imp's care for a wee bit longer or be forced to use it later, or this could just be a flashback. Again, we do not know the timeline here. But to give my 2 cents on the outcome of Full Moon, the long-awaited talk between Stolas, Blitz, and just everything they have going on, where we know Stolas is going to admit that he doesn't want to keep banging for perks, instead wants to do it for love. I personally have thought that based on where we are at in the series, they are gonna fuck this up.
You fucks think you can do this every time, like you can just play with our feelings because we're smaller and not as important.
Here's my rationale for why they're gonna botch this. In the trailer, we have scenes that look like they're from 2 different episodes, being stitched together to make us think that things will be okay sooner rather than later. We have Blitz yelling at Stoltz about their situation, and having that smack together with Blitz saying he's ready to be loved. I think this is gonna be Full Moon for where Blitz is yelling at Stoltz, and then Apology Tour where Blitz talks about wanting to be loved and accepting the idea that Stoltz may have loved him. And I say this because we know that Apology Tour is related to Veronica. And we also tell from the trailer that Blitz will be wearing a blanket that has a bunch of blood spots on it, and this being the same thing that he was wearing when he looked at Stoltz with very much love in his eyes. So this moment of realization has to come after Full Moon. However, the events that Blitz is with Veronica is at is just, it's heartbreak themed. They are stabbing and shooting a Blitz-shaped meal. Veronica or Stoltz might have set up a Blitz sucks party after the events of the Full Moon. And for why I think this, Apology Tour, Veronica is a music star. It feels just too on the nose to not be a coincidence. Like Veronica isn't show up during Mastermind or Sinsmas. That would be a little bit off-brand, I think. We've also seen what Stoltz is wearing at the event, and that look is breakup clothes if I've ever seen them. And the Blitz So Sucks banner is only making the idea that shit went south during Full Moon all the more likely. This could be ironic that after an entire episode of people talking shit, Stoltz decides to stand up and defend Blitz, but the depressed look, the banner, his bit of the song where he sings longingly, yeah, I don't see this being a happy song unless we are only seeing the sad parts of it. So my prediction is that they're gonna break up for real in Full Moon, have Blitz realize that, oh shit, I caught feelings, and it's gonna be a lot about Blitz trying to fix himself and realize, yeah, I do want this, and it's gonna be him pursuing Stoltz after a season of denying all of his feelings. The only problem, Stoltz is gonna be dealing with the heartbreak and dealing with the consequences of fucking around and finding out with rich people. One of the big things though that's gonna make Blitz turn his life around is that he is going to see his mother again, which is bad because this isn't a flashback.
A bit out of your depth, aren't you, little one?
Blitz is gonna see his mom, and it's gonna bring back all the trauma. Now, she died after a bad case of Disney mother syndrome, and while it would be nice to think that he's remembering her, but I think the actual truth here is way less pretty. As you can see, the background behind him is the same eye pattern as the one at the Ghost Motel. So take that, throw in the fact that Blitz looked possessed in some of these other shots with his eyes missing. It's highly likely that the ghost will be forcing Blitz to hallucinate into seeing his mother, as he is being either controlled at this point or having nightmares, as we do see Blitz crawling behind his bed in clear anguish. Which, if there's gonna be anything that'll make him act like that, it would be having visions of the mom he killed and not being mentally prepared to deal with it. Especially since he's gonna be forced to watch all of his worst memories here as well. Hence when we see that one memory of his POV of certain events in what looks like a movie theater but will probably be his mind. Ghostfucker sounds like a gag premise, but I think it's gonna be a real rough one. But here, I feel like Blitz between Ghostfuckers and Apology Tour is gonna have to really come to terms with his own sense of self-hatred, which after he deals with that, he'll be ready to admit that he wants Stolas in his life, something he clearly isn't gonna be ready for in Full Moon. As yeah, he saw Fizz and Ozzy make it work, but at his core, Blitz always views himself as the problem, not society. So while he may talk a lot of shit about Stolas' classism, which the series does kind of downplay in a lot of respects, but from Blitz's area, his view of himself has always been one of his biggest sources of grief. But it's Blitz's self-hatred that he still needs to unpack the most. Something that we might see him work through here in Apology Tour, as his excuse of how everyone is shitty there in hell feels more like his excuse for being bad and treating people poorly and explaining how he's been treated. So if he ends the episode looking at Stolas with a sense of hope, we could be set up for something sweet later down the road. I also sense that Stolas might be sending a note to Blitz saying he's looking for something a little bit more fancy this time for their full moon date, hence why Blitz is wearing suspenders and a bow tie, with him going to Fizz to ask how to dress him up, with Fizz having some interesting ideas about like what they should be doing. This is where Blitz starts getting cold feet at the idea of like, oh, something might happen and he does not like that uncertainty. He's gonna try giving Stolas a giant candle as a gift, but I think the night's gonna fully end in heartbreak, as we do see Blitz finally say the quiet part out loud. But while this is like the tearjerker line, the part that really caught my eye is that we actually have another shot of the two of them together. Only this time, it's Blitz running towards Stolas only for the owl to teleport him out of his house. This is probably the ending of the episode, with Stolas deciding that enough is enough, and after all of Stolas' worry about how Blitz will react, he'll be the one to put his foot down and break it all off. Hence him singing at that Blitzo Sucks concert, though he might still get Blitz's blanket by the end of things, as he is staring at that thing with a lot of pain in his eyes. Though through all this trailer's imagery, I have like, okay, I can figure out where this and this probably is. The one thing I can't fucking place is this court scene.
Where is Stolas anyway? We need to summon him at once.
Okay, Basago.
And Drelfus has been making threats about making Stolas pay this entire season, so it would be his MO to publicly humiliate him and force him to give his inheritance to Stella, aka him, with Stolas not being present because reasons, forcing a whole new drama about him getting to court and having to defend himself, and most probably Imp as well, as Mammon is also making an appearance, and he looks ready to lie his ass off. My first idea for Mammon being here, fidget and kickflip skateboards aside, was I thought he was suing Asmodeus for damages and custody of Fizz, as he's petty like that, and there's definitely enough lawyers in hell to make it happen. But since this looks like the same trial as in Drelfus, sharing the Lucifer apples in the background, I want to say that Mammon is here as a witness to ruin Stolas and Blitz as just revenge against Fizz, as even if he hasn't really met these two personally, he would absolutely do something so petty. And the thing that makes this viable is that he might in fact have receipts, as they did destroy his park. And if Andrelphus was trying to establish that Stolas was neglecting his duties and his family, showing Stolas ignore his daughter to flirt with his bodyguard at Lululand would be the kind of damning evidence to sway the court and to make Stolas feel bad. Because we always have to make Stolas feel bad, or else what's the point? It's basically like Via feeling neglected. We have to do it even if it is the third time that we're doing this.
You never loved Mother, and you don't love me, you love him.
But back to Mammon, Fizz may have been looking for those who destroyed the amusement park, but that doesn't mean that Mammon doesn't have footage before things went crazy, and that could really tear Stolas and Blitz to shreds. Now, we know that the courtroom drama will end with Stolas and Blitz being mostly fine, and I'm basing this just on the fact that Bird Elsa is attacking Stolitz at their house. Garden is destroyed, everything is covered in ice, and the foul fiend is about to crush the two with Blitz trying to defend the both of them. Perhaps this will be Blitz's chance to be there for Stolas after he couldn't with Stryker, and Drelfus, for all of his claims to be the smart one, I don't feel like he would go from preaching subtlety and planning with Stella to just do this massive attack unless his plan was just thoroughly foiled and he is throwing a fit over it. The rolling things back, we are gonna see Satan this time.
Reminds me of the first time I saw Satan without a shirt on. I was like, oof.
Satan is the deadly sin of wrath, master of the ring of wrath, home of the imps, and apparently just Texas. Based on the hints he is living up to that hype, we don't know much about Satan, but he is held in a certain level of notoriety beyond even the other sins. His name is being used as part of swears. We get references to him in the pilot, though this honestly probably is just due to the fact that IRL, Satan is one of the names that people most associate with the devil, but here Lucifer and Satan are two different people, so they'd probably just use Satan and not really fully lean into like, oh, he's that much different from everyone else. Like, know, it's name recognition. But we are finally getting our chance to meet him in court. We have little to really associate him with the legal system, as usually he is just doing gym apps apparently. But given the high status of Stolitz and his accusers, an impartial-ish judge would be needed to mediate. And with Asmodeus' close relationship and bias for Stolitz and Mammon's position as a witness, it wouldn't be out of the question that Satan would be called in to take over and deliver some brutal punishment if he sees fit. Or maybe he's just roasting Mammon, but hey, a guy can hope. Also, to delve back to Ghostfuckers, it's setting me that Blitz got hired to take care of a ghost, most likely deciding that they could handle it despite Moxxie saying that business is up right now. Blitz, despite all of this, just decides to use a vacuum cleaner to get the ghost because movies. The most worrying thing here though is that for all things we see, there is a distinct lack of Moxxie in all of these shots. So conspiracy theory, part of the reason they took this job or took it serious is that Moxxie got kidnapped earlier.
Damn it, Blitz, they aren't ghosts, these are just shriveled humans. No offense.
Moxxie got kidnapped by a ghost, making this episode the long-awaited highlight of Millie and Blitz's relationship. We haven't seen Moxxie in any of these promos, with Millie looking more peeved than usual at Blitz's antics. Millie, historically, has been a master of just rolling with all of Blitz's crazy. But if Moxxie's life was on the line, she would lose all patience and want to prioritize getting her man back, only for things to get worse as Blitz will get possessed, with the two fighting. And to highlight this, we're also definitely gonna get Blitz and Millie's first meeting. We get a shot of them fighting, they're rocking the leather. Millie has way longer hair. This was definitely in the past, and it's probably a memory that Blitz is being forced to relive. Also, the shot of Millie with glass in her eye is probably also a hallucination, as, well, yeah, she could walk this off, and Millie would rock the eye patch. Taking out Millie's eye feels like a massive commitment to make for what is ostensibly going to be a gag-ish episode. Also, if you doubt Blitz is possessed here, look at him here, that's a ghost underbite. While I'm bouncing around, the shot of Stolitz as kids and them becoming adults, my initial thought is this is Stolitz's song, probably at Heartbreakers, but it would be curious if this were from Blitz's perspective. And I just say that because his heart tattoo goes from whole to broken, and I feel like that would have a lot of meaning if this were come from his point of view and not Stolitz assuming that Blitz was happier back then. This whole interaction of them as adults though, heartbroken and all, is pretty much just a microcosm of their entire relationship and post-full moon, as they went from happy kids to sad-ass adults, with Stolitz being the one to pull away much to Blitz's surprise, leaving Blitz to shake it off and storm away while Stolitz tries to stay strong and not look back. We've also gotten visuals of Stolitz's just idea of Blitz being shattered, the sad, angry looks, him turning away. So I think this is going to be Stolitz's decision as he decides Blitz will never be able to love him, at least not how he wants to be. So he is going to be spiraling and he is going to be neglecting everything else in his life. On the plus side, we also finally got confirmation of who got between Blitz and Fizz. Yeah, it was Cash. Fuck this guy. Turns out after the fire destroyed the circus, killing his wife and maiming his top performer, Cash decided that, fuck my son, telling Blitz that Fizz didn't want to see him when that's all he really wanted, setting the two up to spend years hating each other, only for the realization that Cash is an asshole to make them realize he was just lying about what happened. So yes, Cash gave his son's trauma. Big surprise. They really need to talk to their therapist about though. Though maybe, hopefully they can get a discount price and include Via in the Daddy Issues package. Alright, that's about it for as far as my theories go. That ghost might be an envy demon. With all the crazy powers he's showing, I'm inclined to think, okay, actual ghost. I don't know how ghosts fit into the lore of hell. I want to say maybe this is what happens when sinners return to Earth, as we've actually only seen hellborn demons enter the mortal plane, and if they were to become incorporeal when they got there, that would be one hell of a way to keeping them trapped. There's also this one demon, Visago. I keep thinking Iago, but I'm not deep cut. I don't know the Bible lore, so I'm gonna ignore it. Overall, I am very excited for the rest of the season, as even if it's rough, it's gonna be so fun to talk about.
Play with our feelings because we're smaller and not as important.
I also think it's really funny listening to Blitz say all the problems with their relationship, as it's just me hearing my own notes read back to me. Like, he's not copying YouTubers by any means, I just said the quiet part out loud. But it is very entertaining, gratifying for some twisted reason. But that's gonna be all from me. Like, share, and subscribe for more Helluva Boss content and other videos that I do, as yes, I do more than talk about Helluva Boss, and has been, and shipping. You know, sometimes I review other things.